What's up, everyone? This is your host, Sean Johnson, creator of Benchminer Hockey, and welcome to episode number 30 of the Benchminer Hockey Podcast. This is the hockey podcast that covers all things single A. And with me today, Mr. Zach Starry. How you doing, bud?
Not bad about yourself.
Oh, pretty good. I know we were just talking off the air for a minute there. I was watching some Rangers hockey and not looking too good tonight. So we'll see how the second and third period goes.
Well, wish you the best. You got a couple of my Hawks on there now, so
Oh, yeah. Blackhawks, man. Kind of an artifact, man. Kind of an artifact.
yeah. I grew up a Blackhawks fan. I was there through the horrible years in the '90s and the horrible years in the early 2000s. So we got to really enjoy
Right.
a good stretch.
Absolutely. So I know a lot of people probably aren't familiar with you or what you do or whatever the case may be. I'm going to give you the floor for a minute.
Sure.
Introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about what you do and whatnot, and we'll chit chat about it.
Okay. Well, I'm Zach Starry. I live here in Huntsville, Alabama. Um, Basically, I just started these figures as a little recreational thing. Made one for my daughter and her favorite player, Tyler. Um, and then, kind of posted photos of it, and it kind of spurned off from there and um, started kind of local. And then it branched off into the SBHL page. And next thing you know, I was making figures for, customers from all over the league and everything like that. The figures are basically just McFarlane figure. They're not 3D printed, which is probably a good thing because they'll last the test of time. But I just basically take them, sand them down, whatever jersey or design that the person wants to put on there. I just prime it up and then draw it and then just paint over it, put little decals on stuff, and um, I've done, figures for, like I said, not just the SBHL, but some ECHL players, some NHL stuff. And it's just kind of really neat to meet all the people from around the league um, and all the people you would have never met, the branch of hockey you get to see and stuff like that. It's been really neat and all because, we just went to a Havoc game one day and, just happened to meet a player that's, turned into making a figure for him and all this stuff, and it's been really neat. Been a heck of a ride so far.
Absolutely. Like I said, I saw them on Instagram one day, and I was like, just your attention to detail was insane. Like, I was scrolling through all the pictures, and I'm like, oh my god, like he even has like, the crease is proper, like the etching in the goal, like in the netting, and I was like, wow, these have a lot of detail.
Yeah.
What got you into making those in the first place?
Well, when I was younger, early 20s, growing up, I'd always collected the starting lineup figurines, the littler ones, and played with them and all this stuff. And my goal was to collect one from each team, but where we were at it, we're not really big hockey market for that stuff. We were south of Chicago by a couple hours, so we're kind of that dead zone where you watched hockey, but as far as sales of hockey, materials wasn't there. We were just perfectly between St. Louis and Chicago, where nobody in the area really sold hockey. They sold equipment because it's a big bed for playing, but the Walmart, Kmart and stuff, they didn't sell the toys. So I got older and eBay, I'll buy all these up. Well, found out that starting lineup went out of business before all the teams came in the early 2000s. And then of course, you had the, teams come in after that and stuff. But I was like, I'm going to sand some of these down. I'm going to paint up the Minnesota Wild and the Atlanta Thrashers and all that stuff and kind of complete my set. And then it just kind of turned in from there. I was like, well, let me customize one for, the senior class I graduated with on the ice from Pekin. And then it, turned into, hey, these McFarlane figures are a little bigger, a little easier to work with. And so it started off just me making, replicas of what it looked like through the different years of me playing. And, that's what kind of turned me on to, hey, I'll make a, figure for my daughter of her favorite player and stuff like that. And, but it was all just because starting lineup went out of business before all the teams had been made. So I was kind of helping finish out their lineup.
I know you need to send an email or something. Say, hey, I finished this up for you guys. Send me my check.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be nice.
Right.
But
So how exactly did you learn I don't really know how to ask this, but, like, how did you perfect the craft? Just
Um, just
time and practice and
time and practice. Yeah, the starting lineup
yeah.
figures now. Yeah, the years I go back and look at them, like, wow, those are really rough looking. The attention to detail from afar is good. When you get up on it and you see, oh wow, yeah, I could have done better here, could have done better there. But I never really cared for art growing up. And in eighth grade, we had an eighth grade art teacher who had us do this grafting assignment where you basically bring in a picture and you break it into equal squares. And then on the other page, it's blank. You do the same thing. And then in each square, you draw just what matches the square in the photo. And it really kind of simplified art for me. And instead of having to look at the whole picture and go, oh man, how am I going to draw this? You just had to draw that one little square. And so I did
Mhm,
a Garth Snow Quebec Nordiques photo. And going back looking at it now, it's eighth grade art. It's not super awesome, but from there, just kept drawing and kept drawing, and to where I no longer need the graph. I can see the photo and break it down to what I need to, and getting into these McFarlane figures and stuff like that. You can see the jersey for the shapes, and a lot of them are just kind of different angles. And so you just got to kind of get the math down on how far to draw this line up and then back down to match this and match that. And then once you get it drawn, you're just painting inside the lines at that point. So,
mhm.
um, it's difficult and I spend my time on it because, like you said, I want the detail to be there because I feel like that's what authenticates, especially, in the player standpoint. If you're wanting, a goalie, Lots from Birmingham, he's got a pretty detailed helmet, so I want to make sure I get that detail right because that's the extra little bit that sends it over so that you're not like, yeah,
Mhm.
I got this figure from this guy, it was all right. You get it and you're like, wow, that was spot on. And especially when you're giving it to that player, there's been several players come ask me for it.
Right.
I want to make sure that they got it, right down to the T on what they look like, gloves, pants, any kind of facial features, stuff like that. So early on, it was harder to find the details, but now I'm in all these different groups. It's easy to see, okay, that's what this player looks like and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So,
Well, that makes a lot of sense. Give or take, how many do you think you've made so far in
oh,
general?
I would
Probably hundreds,
say,
huh?
yeah, I
If
would
not
say maybe
thousands.
close, yeah, maybe close to 1,000 so far. I would say
Wow,
it's
that's
been
nuts.
it's been 4 years, 4 or 5 years of pumping them out, and it's not just hockey figures. I've got football figures from college to pro. I've done baseball, basketball. I've done women's softball and stuff like that, girls softball, and I did a golf figure for my stepdad. It's branched out into so many different things. I've done actual goalie helmet for a kid. His mom and dad here in Huntsville bought him a goalie helmet, and he's like, "Hey, can Zach put the artwork on it?" So we did an Iron Maiden theme to it all and everything like that. And, it's just crazy all the different things that people asked me to work on. I got to help Peter DeSalvo with his Dansbury helmet. He couldn't get the artwork in time for him to get there, so he asked me if I would help draw it up, and then we could print out some stickers and get the decals put on his helmet so he'd have something make him look more into the team and stuff like that. So that was a huge honor to get to have a pro goaltender. Not only that, but the leading and wins goalie for the SPHL
Mhm.
come to you and say, "Hey man, can you help me out with my helmet?" Was definitely
Absolutely.
really cool.
Yeah, we'll talk about Peter in a moment here. Let me ask you this. Do you have a favorite figure that you've made so far? Does one stand out more than another?
Yeah, probably. There was a figure I made for a Tampa Bay Lightning player. A friend of his got a hold of me, asked me if I would make a figure for him, and it was Pavel Kabina from the 2004 Stanley Cup Lightning, and it was one with him holding the trophy. Well, there was a photo out there too of him, and he's holding up the trophy, and so it was just really neat to be able to match this figure up to this photo, knowing that I watched that Stanley Cup Finals, and that finals kind of marks the end of old time hockey that was. Um, and so now there's an NHL player that actually has a figure I made on his mantle and all that stuff. And so it's really kind of humbling to know that you know a few years ago I would have never imagined these many people would think something I did was that great and want more
Mm,
of it, and know that my stuff's in so many different people's houses and everything like that. It's really cool.
absolutely. I did see the picture earlier. I love how you made a complete set of the 2020 Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah,
For those that have not seen that, we're gonna put the picture in this podcast here, so everyone can see it. But you made a complete set of the whole team. I'm
yeah.
not sure if it was the entire team, but it was
It,
most of them, right?
it was
If not the whole team.
it was the entire starting team except for the backup goalie, Cody Lee, which Big Code's cards is what he kind of operates and stuff like that. He's turned that into something really big locally here too. He came to me and asked me to make that, and I was like, "Wow, that's pretty interesting. I think it'd be really cool to have a full team." And
Hmm.
I said, we came together with a price, and I said, "How about this? And I'll throw the coach in for you." And so, the head coach is in there, and as I'm standing there, I'm doing the coach, looking for that detail. It's basically I get NASCAR figures, and then I just put a little plaster on, make it look like he's wearing a suit and tie. And then behind him, they've got their big flag that whatever corporation they run for. I'm like, this still needs something. You can't just have a coach just stand here on a platform. So I took it and put their Stanley Cup banner on there. I thought that kind
Hmm.
of sells that extra detail. And then plus going into a house like his, he's a big Lightning fan, so that kind of gives him the Stanley Cup banner as an additive to all that stuff. And he's showing off the figures and his little stuff he does with his cards, and which I really appreciate. And it's just really cool that two different people running their own thing kind of unite. And he asked me for something, and he shows it off, and then I drop him a little what do you call it, a name drop, I guess you call it, when I'm talking about things. So, because he was the first big customer I had that, paid a lot
Right.
of money for him. So it was definitely really cool to have the whole set. I've done a whole set of Quad City as well on there, which was really cool. It was their first playoff team. So that was definitely really neat
I
to
was gonna
do.
say, was it the Quad City team after the Bobcats didn't show up? That would have been cool.
Yeah, yeah. It was the year prior to that when they made the playoffs for the first time. A fan said, "Hey, can I get this to commemorate that?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's really cool." So we got them. We did a
Right.
full team set on that, including two coaches. So that was really
Oh
neat.
wow. So let me ask you this. Um, Give or take, I know each one's probably different, depends on the detail and whatnot. But how long does it take to make one, let alone the entire set, like the Stanley
Do,
Cup champs or
doing
something like that?
Yeah, like doing one by itself, if that's the only one I'm doing, it takes about a week. It's really not that hard to do. But I've got so many orders in that I try to do, 4 or 5 at a time. And so they take about anywhere from 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks lately, just because everybody's, I'm trying to get everybody out in a timely manner and stuff like that. So,
Mhm.
um, really doesn't take that long. It's just working a 50-hour job and then doing this on the side. I've got the family and all
Mhm.
that stuff. I try just to work on them at nighttime when I get home. Kids are in bed. That way I'm not, taking away from any attention from any of them and stuff like that. So um, that's the reason why it takes so long. If this was my main job, it wouldn't take long at all because I just enjoy doing it. I could sit here forever and draw them all out and basically put myself out of business, get them all out of the way before I get any more orders come in. But um, just trying to juggle everything around is why it takes a little longer.
Right. I totally get you there because I know I get messages all day long and it's like, I love hockey, I love bench miner, but you guys gotta understand, like I got a full-time job, I got a wife, I got a 1-year-old daughter, I got other things going on. So if I could just drop everything and do bench miner stuff, I would, but unfortunately it doesn't pay the bills. So
Right.
gotta support my family first.
Yeah, it's like a
Um
hobby. Yeah.
exactly. So we were talking a little bit off air and you said you're originally from Peoria.
Yeah. Yeah. Just across the river over there in
So
Pekin.
when the Rivermen play the Havoc, who do we root for?
Well, we root for the Havoc. We're okay
Okay.
if the Rivermen win, but we're full blood Havoc fans now. We've been, like I said, when I left Peoria, they had just lost the AHL team, and so we moved down here, and I didn't even think there was hockey anywhere near here, and we just happened to see that the Havoc had beat the Rivermen in the finals, and I was like, Huntsville's got a hockey team. All right. So that's the next year we started going to games. And like I said, we started out going as Rivermen fans. And our first game was a Rivermen versus Huntsville. And we showed up in old Ron Hoover jersey from the IHL days. And, but the fans there, they were so cool. They weren't, trying to spill beer on you. They weren't yelling at you because you're wearing a different jersey. They were cool. A bunch of them thanked us after the game and said, hopefully they have a good season. And of course, we wanted to go to more games, and Peoria only comes down twice a year for 2 games, so we start going more and more. And the atmosphere down here is just so awesome. The fans are just incredible. The organization itself does so much for the kids and the fans. So we started going more and more, and next thing you know, you just like, well, this is the hockey team we're watching, so we're going to adopt them and go in at full force. And then you start getting into like a little clique with fans, and there's so many out there that you just mesh with so well, and you kind of become a family. And there's I'd say there's a good group of us that we're talking constantly every day with one another and stuff like that. So definitely
Mhm.
different hockey feel down here than it was up in Peoria.
Gotcha.
So
Well, I mean, I'm from New York originally, and I'm here now. I was down in the Carolinas, so I definitely understand what you mean. Southern hockey is something different too.
yeah,
It's hard to explain. It's definitely becoming a hotbed, and fans are extremely passionate. So it's great to see that hockey in the South is growing and getting bigger and better, stronger. I know even in the I follow the Fed mostly, but even the Fed, we got Columbus and Baton Rouge and Carolina. They got
yeah,
strong fan bases, so it's great to see hockey in the South growing and getting stronger each year.
yeah. I mean, you look at the ECHL just put in Savannah. I mean, it's getting more and more, and you hear more and more talk about Atlanta getting an NHL team back. And I think with all the, like you said, with all the hype now down here about hockey, a team in
Hmm.
Atlanta I think could thrive more if they get the right ownership, because people are driving to Nashville, but Nashville's jacked their prices up so much that it's almost unaffordable to go to a hockey game and stuff like that. So it'd be nice to get a team in here where you can go watch some good hockey and not have to pay a
Hmm.
fortune.
That's why I'm 32 and I still haven't been to a Rangers game yet.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
ridiculous. It's like $300 for a nosebleed. It's like, come on, guys. I understand it's New York, and I understand you got to pay Panarin. So,
yeah.
um,
We were getting cheap tickets for the Hawks back in the day, and then they won the cup in 2010. And man, tickets. We went to the opening night in 2011, and it was an arm and a leg. And I was like, nope. And they kept winning cups. I'm like, I'm not even gonna look at prices.
yeah, the closest team to me, well, not the closest. The closest NHL team would be Ottawa Senators, but we typically stay in New York and we go to like Buffalo game. We used to sit against the glass for $36, and then guess what? They got Eichel, so tickets went
uh,
way up.
yeah, yeah.
Now we
That's
just
how
go
it
to Syracuse
goes.
Crunch pretty much.
That's cool. Yeah, it amazes me how they just mess with these prices so much. Like, man, if you would just lower, you pack the house. There's so many. I mean, you look at Philadelphia; they can't even fill a section, let alone the whole stadium. It's like lower the
Hmm.
prices, people will go. So
Absolutely. So, you mentioned Peter DeSalvo before. I'm glad you brought that up because that was actually one thing I wanted to mention. Um, I see that he showed off his collection online as well. We'll share that photo here as well so everyone can see his collection. But he has a few different figures of himself from each team that he played for. Did
yeah,
you make all of those?
yeah, that was a surprise gift for him. He's just such
Okay.
he's such a cool dude. He was with Knoxville during the COVID year, and I was making a figure of him for another guy, and so I kind of just reached out to him, and he was just so personal right away, just back and forth shooting it, and he helped me out with some of the details of his helmet and stuff like that. And so I made a couple different figures of him, and I thought, we went to the. He was in Huntsville the night he broke the record for most wins, and you meet a guy like that. He took photos with us after the game and stuff like that with the kids, and it's like you just want to pay your thanks back to that. So I made a figure of him in that jersey. I kept the game ticket. I put it in the crease, and did all made the whole thing for him, and just kind of surprised him with that. And after he retired, the one thing that kind of gets you everybody when they stop playing is that you kind of miss it. And I thought I want him to have something to kind of show for it. Yeah, he's got the record, and yeah, he's got these jerseys, but I want him to know that fans still care about him beyond who he played for. You're a good
Mhm.
dude. And so I made a whole set of figures plus each team he played for. Broke it up in little sections with their team colors and stuff like that on there. And yeah, it was a cool thing to do, and it totally surprised me. He didn't know that was coming either. And that was just neat to have him reach back out with how excited he was to have that. So it was, and then like
Right.
I
No,
said, to
that
kind of incorporate his Australian team in there too with that banner in the background.
right. And like we talked about before, it's just the little details. It's so cool how, the Stanley Cup champ, how you put, the banner at the bottom, and then like you just said with Peter's case, how you added the ticket in the bottom, and just those little small details. It's not just a painting. It's you add some personalization in there. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, I feel like that's what sells it. I mean, my goal is to make people like it, and if I can put that extra bit in there that you were unexpecting of it, then it just wows it, and it makes it something you want to show off instead of something that's like, oh yeah, like I said, I got this, but it's okay and stuff like
Right.
that. So like I make these puck racks too, and I mean when you break down the basics of it, it's just a chunk of wood I cut little 3-inch holes out of, and you stick your pucks in. You hang it on the wall, and you can put your pucks in, so it displays the face of it with the signature. But that little extra bit is I make it look like an ice rink. I paint it white, I paint the lines on it, and just make it look like it's on a rink and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So
Well, that's
just little
really cool
things like
too.
that.
Do
Yeah,
you
it's like I
have
said.
anything right there that you can show everyone, or no?
Um, let's see. I've got hockey wise, I don't, but I've got these.
Wow.
Let me get plugged
Is that the
back in
U?
here. So I got a guy.
Is that
He's
the U?
yeah. So it's here you go, Brian. Brian Callahan. If he's one of your guys, he's gonna get to see his little present early. But he
Sorry,
had me
Brian.
do. You're all good. He knew he was getting it, but now he gets to see what it actually looks like. But he's a big Miami fan. He had me do a figure before with I'm drawing a blank now, and it's terrible. Sean, the dude that could hit a brick wall and go through it, the one that passed away with the Redskins. I can't think of his
Oh,
name.
okay.
Um, but he had me do one of him,
Yep.
so I did a photo, a dual
Taylor.
one of Taylor. That's it, and he was sacking a Florida State quarterback. So I figured a big rival of Miami's Florida State, he'd like that. And he's like, "Hey, can you
Mm-hmm.
do me a set of 5 guys from the championship team in 2000?" So we've got Andre Johnson over here, Ed Reed, and then Ken Dorsey. We've got Jeremy Shockey, and then Clinton Portis. And so he wanted them all on like one little platform. So I just took a chunk of
Are
wood,
they
painted it.
mobile? I saw you twisting the one.
Yeah, yeah, they can kind of come up out of there.
Okay.
I've got them just kind of sitting in there for the moment, but I'm finishing these ones up right now, and then just finished a set for another guy. Let's see if I can find the photos of that one. He wanted an old school Hurricanes with Michael Irving and Deion Sanders. and so I don't know if it'll show up very well on there, but it's kind of Deion Sanders getting beat for a corner touchdown. Um, so
They
it's
don't
just kind
happen
of
very
stuff like
often.
that. No, no, and that's what was kind of neat is as I'm making this is when Colorado, was starting to go on their decline. I was like, man, I feel like I'm adding salt to the wound now, but um, just stuff like that people they want, and it doesn't have to just be hockey, but they want something, they want it personalized, and you just kind of put your special touch on it. And what's nice is most of them would give me the freedom to give them that surprise. Some people they come in like, hey, I want it done this way, and I'm like, yeah, you got it, man. You're paying for it. You can tell me what you want. But the
Hmm.
ones I really have the fun with are the ones they give me an idea of what they're looking for, and then my creative brain goes into it's like, okay, let's do it this way because I think you'll
Hmm.
like that. Um, I've done a lot of custom figures for youth hockey kids. Parents would want them for Christmas to give their kid, and that's always really cool because it feels like you're really giving back to the game. Then is when I was a kid playing hockey, I'd have loved to have gotten a figure of myself. Um, so getting to pass that back on to another little kid is really cool that they're going to have this
Right.
forever. And to them, they don't see it as, oh, wow, this guy made this for me. They look at it as like, wow, that's what I look like as a kid. And, we all quit playing someday, but they'll still have that
Right.
to talk about to other people and stuff. So it's just really neat.
Yeah, it's like back when I was a kid in Little League, they actually made like trading cards, with our picture and our stats and stuff like that. And I thought that was the coolest thing at the time.
Yeah.
Of course, most of us just kind of stuck it in our bikes and used it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Use
we
it
had
that
a
way, but
we used to have those people come to the tournaments and they did a poster, and so my dad bought a poster. I thought that was the coolest thing ever till you realize it's basically just a giant photo that they kind of put on a different piece of paper and you're like, oh, it doesn't feel so special now. But at the time you thought you were big time. You put it up on your wall with all your other heroes and you felt like you were one of them. So that's just what's so cool about
absolutely.
getting to do that to them. So
No, and like I said, I think that what you're doing is awesome. And for those that didn't hear the news earlier this week, Bench Miner and Zach have partnered, and we are going to be bringing you some single A figures. You've done a couple FPHL players, but not many. Are you kind of excited to do some more FPHL players to kind of mix it up a little bit?
oh, definitely. I really I like doing um, different teams and stuff like that. It's really neat. Like I said, getting to reach out to different fans and see how much they love it and how much they support their team, and this was really cool. Like I said, I haven't done too many FPHL teams. I know I did one for Peter, um, which I kept that one when he was with the Hat Tricks because I knew that was going to be his last hurrah. And plus, it was
Hmm.
him wearing the helmet that I helped him with. So I kept that one for myself. But it's definitely something that would be really interesting to see because people in the FPHL they're just as crazy about hockey as people in the SPHL as they are the people in the NHL. I mean, and if not more because they don't have to show up to those games. They could skip out on that. I mean, they're playing in high school, college rinks, stuff like that. But to them, that's their boys. And what's really neat about single A and stuff like the SPHL is the players give back to the fans because they know that the fans are what's keeping them here and keeping the team in town. And it's just this cool blend of the fans respect the players and the players in return show that respect back. And like I said, with the kids, they do so much with the kids. It's just really cool how you look at these guys like, man, you're a superstar. You could just blow us right off and keep on walking to the bus,
Right.
but you stop.
Exactly.
You're injured, you're hurt, and you're giving everybody hugs and signing autographs. That really means a lot to everybody.
Absolutely. Like I said, I'm super excited that you agreed to join forces with me.
Yeah.
Um, I can't wait to see some of your work, and I can't wait to see it get to the fans, and then fans are gonna be super excited to see it. They're gonna showcase it. They're gonna take it to the game, get it autographed. I don't know what they're gonna do with them, but um, whatever it may be, I'm sure that you're gonna have some people keep them as keepsakes. Some people may give them to their favorite players. Who knows? But I'm really excited to see some different things that you create. I've seen
Oh,
the like I said, the Tampa Bay one is really cool. How you added the coaches in there. I saw the Zambonis. I thought those were really cool as well.
Yeah, those are cool.
I know you said you do all types of sports. I'm just kind of focusing on hockey right now because that's what I'm all about. But
I've
no,
done a
dude,
few of the
I think that what you're
mascots.
doing is what's that? Oh,
I,
mascot. Yeah, I didn't even think of
yeah,
that. Mascots would probably be a huge one too.
I get the little Funko Pops and I just kind of, decorate them. Like I said, add some plaster. I've done Rocky from Peoria, and I've done a bunch of different Ruckus and Chaos. Um, and then I've done another one, but it's still a secret yet. It hasn't been delivered to the person yet. But it turned out really cool. Um, but yeah, like I said, it's just getting in there, tinker with things, and adding some plaster here and some paint there, and getting to turn something into something for somebody. That's just what's neat is they don't expect what's coming, and you do it, and it blows their mind, and then they bring in more people and stuff like that. So yeah, like I said
Right.
on my Instagram page, which is Starry Designs, you can go there. I keep all the stuff I make on there. Once I post it, a lot of stuff I have to wait because, like I said, they're gifts for people. So I wait until that person says, "All right, I gave it to them." Because the last thing you do is post it, and then they kind of like, "Hey, what's this?" So
Right. That's what when you showed the football players, I'm just like, I didn't just ruin a surprise, did I?
no, he knew he was getting them. He just didn't know what it was going to look like. So if he's on here, he sees his little, he'll probably hit me up tomorrow, tell me how cool it is, or give me some more ideas of what he wants. So
Right. All right. Well, awesome. Well, like I said, I'm super excited that you agreed to join forces with me. I'm
yeah,
gonna promote this for you, and
thanks for asking.
fans are gonna be so excited when they order one of these and get them in the mail. Speaking of that, what is the cost, including shipping?
There'll be $75, and that includes the shipping. Now, if it's going to Canada, it's $10 more because of their shipping costs. It'll be 85 going to Canada. But yeah, the 75. I try to keep it pretty cheap because, like I said, I want people to buy them because I want to share that hockey with them. It's not I want them to buy them so I can get rich off them because I'm not making too much off each one. I've had people say, "Oh, you should charge more because they're really good." I'm like, "Yeah, but you could price yourself out of a job." And last thing you need is someone that's. I'm not trying to be greedy about it. I'm just cover the cost of it and then make a little bit for my time, and that's it. Everything else is I just want the fan to have it and cherish it. So for whatever
Right.
reason they want it.
In my mind, I have so many that I think that I want. I just don't think I have enough space to actually
that's
get them. So,
that's it. If you yeah, if you could see my phone, a lot of people are like, oh man, there's so many I want. I'm gonna come back for more, and some do, and some start off right off the bat with a bunch. So it's really neat that these people they see it and they're like, man, I trust you. Make me three, and you know it's just really cool how you go on from there. So
right. I've already got the idea for the first one that I want. I just have to it's hard to narrow it down which player you want, you know what I mean? It's like the
yeah,
first one, so it's gotta be meaningful, it's gotta be special, but I've got an idea for the first one, but I'm not gonna say what it is yet.
yeah, I got
Um,
a guy up in Peoria. I don't know if I'm sure you had to see some of his context, but Wade Lovin, and he's
everyone knows Wade, holy
yeah.
moly.
oh, is this where we tell him happy birthday in case he's watching?
Happy birthday, Wade.
But he got a Levine one off me, and he was like, "Oh, I want more." And his wife had to put him on a freeze, and so it's a joke we have going on now. And he'll say, "Oh man, I want to get one of these." I'm like, "Yeah, we don't talk about this. Your wife's listening."
Oh,
So
good old Wade. Biggest Peoria fan I've ever talked to in my life,
yeah, I think probably ever lived too. So yeah, he is.
probably.
Yeah, he's got that down pat. But you take him with the humor that he puts out there. He's not always trying to be serious, and a lot of times people take him serious, I think, and they want to get angry. And it's like he's out there just to try and be the heel. He's not trying. It's not
Oh,
really
yeah.
him. You get to know him, and he's a really cool guy, but. He's got a persona that he keeps online, and he's out there to be your protagonist. He's trying to get underneath your skin, and that's just what's neat about the different personalities between all of them. Every team's got their one guy, and it's just neat to see them all kind of
Mhm.
come together.
Yep. Riverman style.
yeah.
I love it.
Uh,
Um, so for those fans that want to place an order, how do they go about doing that?
so you can either hit me up on my Facebook page or Facebook Messenger. That's just Zach Starry, ZACH, STARRY. If you can't get me there, like I said, it's Starry Eye Designs on Instagram. Either way, on those messengers, I'll reach out to you. If it's been a day, give me a second. Like I said, I got a lot of work and stuff like that. I may not see that there's a new person trying to contact me, but I will reach out to you, and I'll get you on the list and stuff like that. So, just one of those two things. Or if you
Absolutely.
know somebody that's already gotten one, you can have them reach out to me too if you can't get through any other way. So, or like I said, they can contact you through Benchminer, and you can get a hold of me.
Right. Absolutely. Um, we're gonna throw your socials up on the screen right here. Facebook and Instagram will be right here. Um, and I will say, so far everyone who has received one, they've had nothing but good things to say about the quality of work. I know we already talked about that. Your attention to detail. Um, do you have any final words to anyone who's considering getting one?
Um, Other than whatever ideas you have, you just presented to me, and you look back at what I've got posted, and I can do all kinds of things. I don't think I've had to tell anybody yet that I can't do something, as far as jersey wise or positioning wise. I can get them close. Uh, but again, it's the closest probably about as I can, if somebody wants a certain stance and stuff like that, I kind of take parts from this guy and put them on this thing, and make it, look as close as I can. But,
Mhm.
I definitely will put, everything I can into it to make it, as close to perfect as the real thing as, it can be. And I know I've seen a lot of people on eBay selling them, and they're selling them for all these, large amounts of dollars and stuff like that. And I was, like, well, I kind of like selling them lower because more people, not that they'll come to me, but I get to pass that on to them. So, if you think about ordering it, just know that I've got, more passion for hockey than I do passion for dollars. So, you can hit me up at any time if you got new ideas, or, you want to check and see, you want me to send you photos. I'm always, once I'm under kind of contract with you, I'm there at your disposal. I'm not just gonna, disappear and then send you a photo at the end and then collect your money, and I won't take the, I'll take payment, but I won't just say, hey, tough. If you don't like it, we can just give you your money back. I stand behind my work. And the biggest thing is shipping. I always worry when I ship these things out, how well did I pack them, and, how well did they take care of it and stuff like that. And so if anything, breaks on the way, which has happened, sticks or, something comes apart, I always say, hey, ship it back to me. I'll pay for it and get it fixed and ship you out, a new one, or fix it and then, put it back together and ship it back out. So, I
Mhm.
stand behind my work. Um, One of them was Bulls fan. Rick Foster had a fire last Thanksgiving, and he had so much Bulls stuff. I felt horrible. I mean, he'd been a Bulls fan from back in the '70s and had all the South Stars and stuff like that, pucks, and I'd made him a bunch of figures, and so he lost them all in the fire, and I just felt compelled to replace them all, and without his knowledge, I made him a whole new set, and surprised him on Christmas with all of that to replace it, because it just it wasn't anything he could do. And I know when you collect these things for years, it's such a heartbreak, and everyone else is giving you food, shelter, money, clothing, all that stuff. So it's like, let me chip in with
Mhm.
that extra part of warmth that you need and stuff like that. So I can't replace the pucks and all that, but I can replace the things that I made for him. And he's actually come back and wanted more Funko Pops and stuff made, which is really neat. That the gratitude that he got from that. It's, I mean, but that's the hockey community. You stick up for each other. It's not
Mhm.
just on the ice. You carry that off the ice as well.
Yep, I was just gonna say that's why you're a perfect fit for single A hockey. It's not about the money; it's about the love of it. So,
That's it.
um, we've even done a couple fundraisers here where I don't want to say bad things, but bad things have happened, and the hockey community. I want to say hockey's a big world. Well, it's a small world, but you know we're all there for one each other. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, yeah. It doesn't matter from club
When times
hockey
get
as
tough,
single
and
A, and
yeah, exactly. Um, I think you answered all of my questions. Thought I had one more for you, but I think my mind's just everywhere right now. Um, I do want to say though, we did announce earlier today. Well, I shouldn't say earlier today. This video will be posted on Thursday. We're recording right now on Monday, so today we announced that our partnership. I probably blew up your socials, so I apologize for that.
It's all good.
Um, and with that being said, though, for those fans that do want to place an order with Zach, please do. I just ask that you guys stay patient, like we just talked about earlier. He's got a full time job, got a family. This is a side gig, so he'll get to everyone when he has time. Just don't pressure him, don't rush him. He wants to make sure he does it right the first
Yeah,
time.
and it doesn't bother me if you check in and say, "Hey, Sometimes it reminds me, yeah, I need to contact you because I'll tell them I'll get you on the list, and then that might be the last time I see or hear from you for a while. So, I mean, if you want to check in and say, "Hey, is this, that?" Yeah, I got you. And definitely, if it's something for like a gift for Christmas and stuff like that, I'll put a rush on things like that, birthdays and things like that. As long as you give me a date, I make it my top priority to get those done so that you can have them those times. But as far as if it's no rush to you, just be patient. I'll get to you. I promise. I won't forget anybody or neglect and all that stuff. But don't be afraid to reach out too. I mean, you're not going to get your head bit off. I'll answer you back, like I said, in a timely manner. I usually keep everything on me to where I see it, I'm like, oh yeah, because the last thing I want to do is make somebody mad, especially when you're dealing with their money and stuff like that. So,
Hmm.
and with my love for hockey, I don't want anyone to feel like I'm pushing them aside. I want them to have that same respect back. So,
Right. And I just realized that today, as in Monday, the time of this recording, we're exactly 2 months from Christmas Eve right now.
oh wow.
So it is creeping up quick. I don't know how many you're going to be able to get done before Christmas. With that being said, but best of luck to you.
Yeah, well, thanks. Right now, I've only got one. I got to finish up these Miami guys, and then I'm starting on his sons. So there, right now, there's only one that's got to be done by Christmas. So, but like I said, Christmas kind of ramps up every year. I do, about a handful, and then after Christmas, everything else kind of starts to slow down, and I can bust out a bunch more and stuff like that. So I
Right
usually
on.
take vacation right around that time too, so I can work on more and all that stuff. Not just for that, but I usually take vacation right around that time because stuff gets slow at work, so it's easier to break off, and
Mhm.
more time at home means more time I can work on them. So, but yeah,
100%.
and the more detailed they are, the longer they do take because I want to put that detail in there. I don't want to get just like the Quad City Storm jerseys. They've got the little tiny lightning bolts or tornadoes
Mhm.
inside the. Well, they did last year had them inside the cuff of the stripes, and so I wanted to make sure I incorporated that. So you take time to make sure you get that all zigzagged in there and stuff like that. So and there's definitely been more detailed jerseys and stuff like that that you just want to make sure you get that everything in there. You don't want to just look like it was screen printed on and shipped out. So these are hand painted
Right.
and everything.
No, that like I said, I'm still astonished by your work. I think it's so cool, and I'm super excited to see them in person. Like I'm looking at these pictures and I'm just mesmerized. I'm like, oh my goodness, look at that detail. I couldn't imagine holding it in my hand and seeing it like that. So I'm super excited to get my hands on one to see what it's all about.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, and if you got pictures, if anybody's want them, and they've got pictures of the jersey styles and stuff they want, ship them out to me. Send them out to me. Whatever you got to do. Have to ship them. You just send me the photo, and I can match them up off of there pretty easy. And the Havoc games, they've always got the little statue outside that shows what the jersey is, and I'm always taking photos of the logos and stuff like that because those are the ones you want to print decals out on and stuff like that. So
Hmm.
anything I can get a photo of, I can either see it, draw it, or print it out, kind of thing. So the
That's
more
awesome.
details they send me, the better it is.
100%. So yeah, so if for example, if you have a picture of Jake Roop doing his whatever move he does on the ice. He's got a bunch of them, so you pick one, and you like the jersey he's wearing. Contact Zach, send in the picture, kind of explain what you're looking for, and let Zach do his thing.
Yeah, yeah. Basically, like I said, I've done, like I said, all kinds of different custom positions and stuff like that. So you just let me know what you're looking for, and our team captain down here this year is Dominic Procopio. And he always, every time we'd win, he'd always come up to center ice, and as we, everyone raises their sticks for the fans, he would get down on one knee and slide around the center ice circle. So I customized a figure of that for him and or of him, and I kept that one for myself because he's a pretty cool dude and heck of a player. But stuff like that I'll play around with, and I'll keep it for myself. And then if somebody wants one, I know I can make that style and stuff like that. But I'll post the photos out on my Instagram so people can see what all I can do and stuff like that. But
Perfect. Let me ask you this. Tyler Jurich, who now plays for the Elmira River Sharks, head coach. Um, I have a picture of him where he's skating around the ice in a Washington Wolves jersey, holding up a torch. That's something you can do.
yeah, yeah, I've got all different kinds of, like I said, all I need is a little stick or something to form in the hand, and then kind of make the flame out of plaster and paint it all up. And yeah, like I said, they get as close as I can to the actual detail, but it's enough to where you're like, man, that's pretty close. That's 98% way there. I may not have all the intricate like uh, the trophies and stuff like that. The ones I've made where they're hoisting up the President's Cup. It doesn't have the swirls. It's basically just foil kind of
Hmm.
wrapping around this thing, but it's got the shape of it. It's got the chunks of wood I've cut and screwed together at the bottom of the trophy and all that stuff. I painted it in so it looks like it's got the actual placard on it and stuff. So it's stuff like that that I can get close to on the
Right,
detail. But sometimes that fine tune is just really hard to get in there and get the actual delicate details of it all. And sometimes I can get in there and hit it perfectly.
right. Well, we're about out of time here, so I'm gonna end this here. Is there anything that you would like to kind of say to everyone before we hang up here?
Anybody who's already contacted me, and I'll be getting with you tomorrow, and anybody in the future, I look forward to chit chatting with you. It's kind of one of my favorite things about doing it all is getting to meet the different people and hearing their hockey stories and finding the players that they love and just the cool things they get to do with their figures. They keep it for themselves, giving it to their kid, giving it to the player. It's just stuff like that that's really neat. Players' parents contact me and hey, can you make this for my kid who's playing for this team? And I did one for just finished one for Nick DeVito for Roanoke. His parents,
Hmm.
and his dad. Dad goes, man, it was so cool. I couldn't give it to him. I'd keep it for myself. So it's just neat hearing the stories come back about how much they love it and what they did with it.
Now that you say that, I just remembered a parent of a player in Huntsville actually just messaged me tonight, so I think he's going to be contacting you here shortly.
Okay, that'd be cool.
Mr. Brendan Dowler's father.
Okay, okay,
So,
cool. Look
he
forward
thought
to.
that they were super awesome and great craftsmanship, and he had nothing but nice things to say tonight. So I appreciate the message I got from him.
Yeah, appreciate that. Be chatting
Of
with them
course,
soon.
of course, you will be. All right, boss. Well, I really appreciate your time, and I look forward to this partnership.
All right, me too. Thank you.
All right, have a good one, bud.
You too. Take care.